Hey everybody, it's your girl author Doc B. She's in the building. And guess what? We have a special treat for you tonight. Say hello to my co-host Azam. He's in the building tonight.
Building. Your boy Azam is in the building. What's
Yes.
going on out the Doc B? It's been a minute. What's going on?
Yeah, man. We got to do what we got to do. Let's tell the audience what Bring It to the Table is all about. You want to take it from here?
Once again, we're back in the building with the host of the Doc B and myself, co-host Azam Abdullah Azim. This is called Bring It to the Table, the podcast that addresses all type of social justices, issues in our communities, equality, and the freedom that's needed for the healing, proper healing. Let me say that, for the proper healing. And let's not forget, we're addressing everyday people like yourself, overcoming, conquering, and surviving all types of addictions and traumas and living beyond their dreams, right? So let's not forget, this podcast is an offspring from Felicia Burton's book entitled The 3 C's, How I Survived Crack, Cancer, and the COVID-19. Let's not forget her memoir, right? Your self-help tool, which is a 30-day regimen to help you become healthy, right? Health is wealth. Recently acknowledged on Amazon for the best-selling self-help book. Let's be reminded, right? We are streaming live, Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, Indeed, and YouTube. And especially, we got about 5 pages. Let's talk about. We on Facebook. We are there. We need you to click, like, share, invite your people because it is going down. We have a sister coming out tonight. Tracy is going to be in the building. She's going to share a story.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Surviving. Man, I had an opportunity to go look at some of her bio on something else, man. And I was just like, wow. I had to stop because that's how traumatic it was. But she is here with us live in the studio.
She's backstage, folks. She's backstage.
Let's go out the Doc B. Let's bring her on in.
You want me to bring her on now? Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Azam, that great co-host of ours. And without further ado, we're going to bring Tracy Downing from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on, and her story is going to blow your mind. So please click, like, and share. Drop those comments in the chat. We love an interactive audience. Let's bring her in from backstage.
Hey, hello everybody.
Hey, hi Tracy.
Woo, woo, woo.
Come on.
Here she goes. Here she goes.
Woo, woo.
Welcome, Queen.
Hi, y'all. My name is Tracy Downing, and I am a person in long-term recovery. Through the grace of God, I can finally say that. It took darn near a century for me to be able to say that. And I give all the credit to my higher power, right?
Nice.
I'm going to take y'all back.
Hold on, Tracy. Hold on.
We got you. You're gonna rock with it. It's gonna be an interactive thing, Tracy, right?
Yes.
We're gonna flow. We're gonna ask some questions. You're gonna share. We're gonna share. You're going to get us excited. We're going to interact with the audience because listen, you got a lot of people watching this show tonight.
Yes.
God, we're going to touch as many lives as possible, right? Because we're going to get into it, right?
But you know what? You know when we go to those places, we can't say those places that we go to. We can't say the name because of confidentiality and anonymity and stuff like that. So we don't say those rooms. Those meetings that we go, we don't mention those. I just want to give out a disclosure that we don't do that on the show, right? But we're used to just jumping right in and telling our stories. She's a natural. Did you see that? She was just, I'm going to take y'all to, that's not the way it works on a podcast, Tracy, but we got you. We're going to guide you. We're going to guide you. We're going to ask you some questions. This is like an interview. And then we're going to talk to you about a specific things that we ask you. Are you going to be comfortable with doing that?
Yeah.
She was ready to jump right in.
Your spirit is there. So let's start with the first question because we don't want to talk about the now Tracy. We want to talk about the before Tracy.
We want to know that girl back then.
That's what I was going to do.
Go back. Who is Tracy? Before the Tracy that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, who was she?
From? Where did you live? Who did you grow up with? What it was like in the household? What talk about that right there? Let's go there for a few minutes.
Okay, well, I'm glad you asked me because that's exactly where I was going to start in my childhood. Okay, because that's my beginning, and I'm from Philadelphia. Okay, and I was raised by a single parent, my mother, and it was a dysfunctional family system. Okay, and I didn't find out until later that while my mother's mother, my grandma, was raising me and my sister, and she was an active alcoholic, and she would like go off in rages, and that's where I started developing fear and anxiety and panic attacks. Okay, and listening to her constantly degrading my mother, it put fear in me about my mom, and I just felt afraid, as a little girl, and confused. I was constantly bullied in school, and that triggered and developed low self esteem. I never felt like I fit in anywhere, and over time, with my grandma drinking, my mother wasn't around because I didn't know she was going to school for nursing and providing for us by
Mm-hmm.
giving my grandmother money. But I still was lonely. I had a emptiness in the pit of my soul for nurturing. I wasn't being nurtured, and every child needs that as they're growing up. And the world to me was a scary place, you know.
Mhm.
And so that's part of my beginning,
Where was
being
dad?
around
Where
my
was dad?
grandma drinking. So yeah,
Where was your dad?
my father and my mother had separated. My mom, first of all, my mom she had a very, very strong character and disposition, right? She was an Aries, the fire sign. And she left him while she was pregnant with me because she was not putting up with his infidelity. They was married, she said, for a month. And she filed for divorce. So I didn't really have a very, very close relationship with my father. He would pop in and pop out, right? Um, and I had never heard the words from him until years later when I mentioned it. You never told me that you loved me. So my concept of men was developed then, right? And it damaged that idea of men. And so my father and my mom had separated when I was a little girl.
Your whole upbringing was it in Philly?
Yes, I lived in Philly all my life.
Okay, and you're still there, correct?
I'm here. I came back.
Right.
Okay, okay. So now, what about the environment that you grew up in, outside, friends, or in school? What was that like for you? With all you going through in the home, now when you come out, then what environment you mixed in now?
Let me tell you. Listen, I had my character defects was coming out. I was hooking in school in kindergarten. I remember
Come
cutting
on,
class and going
come
to the
on,
candy
Tracy.
store and stuff, and being bullied. I really didn't like to go to school. So I would cut class and I would hooky school when I was like in first kindergarten and first grade. That's when it started. Those character defects start coming out because I did not feel like I belonged. So
Hmm.
I started escaping life without the use of drugs.
Got you,
I didn't
got
want to be here.
got you.
So did you experience fantasy as a did you experience fantasy
Fantasy for
as a
what?
fantasy as part of your addiction, wanting to do other things or wishing and dreaming like all the time about being someone else, being somewhere else, being like the family down the block? Because me and Zan been through that. We
Yeah.
always wanted to be like them down the street with the mother and the father and the dog and the white picket fence and the gate. Did you go through that?
I went through that all through my childhood because I'm gonna tell you something about TV and the subliminal messages that they send. Right, the ideal family structure,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be like the Partridge Family. I
There you
wanted
go.
to be like the Brady Bunch. Right, singing and dancing and everybody happy all the time, no
Mhm.
problems, no real issues or nothing. Well, it wasn't happening in my family structure.
Right.
Okay, so like I said, I developed, I became a female Houdini. I wanted to just escape and I didn't want to be here. And I would fantasize. I remember, I'm going to keep it real. I remember putting on a stocking cap, right? The long stockings, and I would be swinging it left and right, like on the Brady Bunch. I want to have blonde hair and blue eyes. Okay, that was my fantasy, and I start getting other messages within our own race, right? Like you don't measure up, right? And society, beauty standards,
Ooh.
right?
Now we
I,
going
I didn't look
somewhere.
like the average
Come on.
girl, right? And that caused me to retrieve deeper within myself.
Nice. That's
Any
good
brothers
stuff.
and sisters?
Huh?
You have any brothers, any sisters?
Yeah, I have a beloved sister who passed a couple of years ago, and we had a love-hate relationship because whenever my mom left, she would beat my behind. She would start
Okay.
beating me, right? So I was getting it on all ends as a little girl, from school, my grandmother, and my sister, and my mom. When she started showing up, uh, my mom was a little rough around the edges. She like wasn't mushy huggy and all that. She would take you to the store and buy you clothes and shoes and TVs and all this kind. That's her way of showing her love. She didn't know how to nurture because of my grandmother that raised her, right?
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
I didn't. I wanted to love my sister, but she kept beating me until I got like 13 and pulled the knife out on her, right? And then after that, she stopped hitting on me. But
Mm.
I loved my sister.
So at what point did you start to, how did you deal with those feelings? Feelings of rejection, feeling of abandonment, and all these things. What comes next? Because something usually comes next after that.
Well, it's called internalized oppression, okay? Self
Ooh.
hate,
Wow.
self rejection, self loathing, okay? Self destructive, self abuse, all right? Trauma, yeah, okay?
Mm.
Trauma, because taking it a little bit further in the same time frame, right? My tender, innocent heart, it was snatched away from me because my cousins was molesting me.
Okay.
Okay, then two pedophiles, and I was on before I was 13, so I became a sexual object, right? And that's how I treated myself, and that's how I got attention by using my body. And I always felt empty inside, even when I was with a man, because they would be on their way, and then I would be left crying and feeling ashamed, abandoned, and rejected. So that caused more wounds, that caused more trauma on top of self hate.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, there it is, folks. Tracy is dropping it like it's hot right here. She's really bringing it to the table, which is the name of our show. We address everyday people like you and me who have overcome, conquered, and
Yes.
survived anything, especially addiction and trauma, mental health. She is ripping it apart. She told you, if you was listening, put your big ear on, that she
Absolutely.
lived in fantasy. Brady Bunch, Partridge Family. Yeah. She wanted all of those things, did
This
not
stocking
have it.
cap for the
Broken.
blonde hair.
Yeah. Broken. She was broken. Kindergarten, not even going to school, playing hooky before first grade. She is letting you know no self, nothing. She had none of that under the age of 13. It's got to be hard for you, sweetie. I see your emotions as I did the reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to stay right here for a minute. Yeah. And it's
At this
okay.
point, with all this trauma, how do you now, like, what becomes your coping skills? Let's say that, to deal with that.
to deal with the stones and the ice that I built around my heart at a very young age. It's a lot of it is still there. I listen. God has blessed me with going on 13 years recovery, right?
All
And I
right.
still see a psychiatrist. Yes, I still see a psychiatrist at JFK.
Absolutely.
At
Absolutely.
JFK, and we're peeling it like an onion at a time. And don't forget, onions make you cry. So I'm healing. I'm shedding that pain inside of me. Okay, going all the way back because it don't disappear. Right? I don't care how much drugs you do, food, drugs, sex, gambling, whatever. It don't. It be laying dormant in your soul and in your heart, and that's what's inside of me.
Well, there it is,
And
folks. It lays dormant. She's not lying.
Yeah,
You got to
absolutely.
address it before it addresses you.
yes, it
And
will.
that's led you to what substance of choice and what year did you
You beat
start?
me to the punch, Doc. You beat me to the punch. I was coming with that one.
Because she rolling. She ain't playing no
Yeah,
games. She was built,
we heard it.
she was built for this.
What was
Okay.
the first drug?
Wait, let me throw this in before I answer that. Okay, another things that I do, my coping skills in my toolbox is my God. That's my foundation, right? I believe strongly in God, right? Then I have to say it in that other, fellowship or whatever. However, I don't know how to put it because you know said
That was
confidentiality,
good.
but
That was good.
I'm just gonna say I have a recovery support team
Network.
around me,
Okay,
right?
good.
I pray, I meditate, I drink my smoothies, and I eat healthy majority of the times.
Right. I get that. I'm sorry to cut you off.
And what else? That's my coping skills, right?
No. Listen to what I'm saying.
That's
Yeah.
good.
That's the coping skills you got now.
Oh, you
What did you do then to cope with the trauma back then before the
As you
therapy,
was
before the relationship with God? What
Right.
did you do then to cope?
okay? I'm gonna say it once again. I was an escape artist, right?
Mhm.
I would leave, right, with the quickness and run the hell away.
There you go. That's
So
And
what
I
when
I
you
was
ran
wild.
away,
I became a
what did you do?
wanderer. I became
What
a
did you do?
wanderer,
Well, what
going
did
over
you
other
do?
people's houses in the neighborhood. Anywhere where I seen something that was normal, that appeared normal. So I ran away.
And what you do
And
when you ran away?
I would just be stuck. And
So,
whatever was going on in the houses places that I went to. And I was
okay.
molested in some of them places.
Okay, but no, when did you use substance? When was this
At
first
12
substance?
years old, when I was with my grandma, when I used to go in the kitchen and get her Johnny Walker Red. And
Mm.
I said, well, what is this doing to her? I need some. And I started drinking, sneaking it. That was my first high, drinking alcohol.
Johnny Walker. Wow.
Johnny Walker Red.
Not Johnny Walker, baby.
Johnny
Yup.
Walker.
Johnny Walker Red. Yup. And then Old English.
Oh.
And then marijuana at the age of 11. And I'll never forget in the schoolyard. And we used
Let
to
me
do
say
the
hi to some
cha-cha.
of the let me say hi to some of the audience. Hi, Carolyn. Thank you for joining. Hi, Sorrow. Yaya's here from Africa. He comes all the time. He never misses. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, Elroy is here. Hey, he said, hey, Doc. He said, hey, Z. How y'all doing? Thank you so much for joining. We really do appreciate all of your continued coming on to the show to support us. Please do me a favor. Click, like, and share. Share this screen with someone else who you think can really use this information because Tracy Downings from Philadelphia is giving it up. Let me read something about you, Tracy. I want to read something to the audience. Yeah, let me just pull it up right here because we're not just talking to someone who survived addiction. No. We're talking to someone who's very, I'm going to say, unique and special. That's what I'm going to call it. And I'm going to call it what it is. Okay, wait, the one on this page. There we go, right there. So I'm going to go all the way up the top. It says, well, Tracy already told us that at the age of 12, she started doing drugs and what was going on in the household and things of that nature. Thank you so much. It says that we hope, this Tracy's quotes, we hope that you make it. we see something in you that you can't see in yourself. In many jails, prisons, and recovery programs, counselors and psychiatrists embraced you with unconditional love, education, and knowledge. It still took years to get sober. Talk about that. This is you recently was featured in the uh Community College of Philadelphia newspaper. They did a whole article that was just this week on May the 20th. But not only that, you was featured in so many different things in the city of Philadelphia. I saw you everywhere when I did my research. But this is the one that stood out to me. This is the one that had the most. It says Tracy experienced resilience in the face of adversity. That's why you on this show. That is why you are on this show.
Absolutely.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Tracy graduated with her associate's degree from the Community College of Philadelphia. And we're going to get to that, but I did not want to leave that out. Peer support specialist, behavioral health and human services. Listen, she talking about all that trauma. This is the hope shot for you.
Absolutely.
All the trauma she just told you she came from, yet she still rise.
That part.
She is rising. And I love when Tracy said, oh, it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's still there. But she don't act out on it. And you too don't have to act out on whatever it is you're going through. You really can't get through the other side clean. So now, Tracy, we were at the part where you started using drugs. You said you started off with marijuana and alcohol from your grandma, going to get the alcohol bottles. And Zam did that too, didn't you, Zam?
Yes, I
I
have.
used to go to card games and pick up the little bottles when my mother and them had the card games.
I go back to Schaefer beer.
What you do, Zam?
The Schaefer beer. I go back. This the Puerto Rican beer, man.
We had Michelobes.
Yeah, yeah, man. But so again, with that said, the alcohol coming into place, the marijuana coming into place. Tell us a little bit about the progression of your addiction, the drugs, the activities, like the abandonment of self after that. After being abandoned, of course, once addiction come in, that's now abandonment of self. That's the dereliction. Tell us a little bit about that.
Hey, yeah, what thought comes to my mind relating to myself is, first of all, the mental health issue started, okay, before I even picked up the first drink, all right, from depression, loneliness, and anxiety and panic, right, and isolation. And I used the alcohol to desensitize, to numb the pain that was inside my heart, because like I said, I didn't want to be here, right? So it went from the alcohol to old English, drinking in the schoolyard with my little girlfriends. We was all young, getting people to get the beer for us or whatnot, and then marijuana, and it just got progressively worse after that. Over the years, it gradually went to monster, snorting, speed,
Ooh,
and
baby,
yeah,
baby.
and
Tell the
yeah,
story.
yeah,
Tell the story.
back in the day, and then from that, it went. It was all of it combined together, but it just went from one substance to another substance, trying to just numb myself, and then it went to snorting coke, right? And it was always, Tracy, try this, and I would be game to
Mm.
try anything,
Oh
that was
yeah.
chemical, and so after that, it was the free basing, right? And I remember I had just got my Section 8, and I moved to Crescent Grove Road, and the
Mhm.
guy upstairs was knocked on my door. He was like, "Come here, I want to show you something." And he had the glass bowl, and he said, "Pull it." And I just pulled it. You know what I mean? Like, who does that? But I added, well, a person that's
Right.
addicted. And so it just got progressively worse to the freebasing. And then I lost my apartment. I had my daughter was like 5, and me and I was just wandering with her and took her to my mom. My mom took her in, and I was off to the races, you know, on the streets, getting high and carrying on. And I started smoking crack, and listen, that was seriously
Mm-hmm.
when it
Tell the
went down.
story. Ladies and gentlemen, what Tracy just did was describe vividly the
Yes.
progression of
Mhm.
the disease of addiction
Absolutely.
when trauma is underlined and unaddressed, how it significantly grows. Outstanding job, Tracy. Thank you so much for
Yes.
bringing that to the table. Your vulnerability, we appreciate you because you don't know us from nowhere, but you agreed. I'm coming on that show and I'm gonna help the people. Thank you for helping the people. That was outstanding. Azam, what's the next question?
So the next one would be, at this point, through all this drug use, all this abuse, at what point did Tracy say, yo, enough is enough? I gotta
Enough.
do something different.
Okay,
No,
now
I
I
already
got.
know that. I know that answer. Jail.
Listen.
Come on, Doc.
My hustle, I was a thief. I
Come
used to
on.
go. Listen. I'm going to tell y'all exactly how it was for me, right? Retail theft. Okay, that's how I basically supported the addiction. You get the drugs. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so you already know it's going to be click click sooner or later. So I
Uh-huh.
started going in to the justice system. Okay, it started out with the neighborhood precincts. Right, they would let me out or whatever, and I'll go get high again, and then started having my children. Right, and
Mhm.
then after that, listen, they sent me straight up Pick, and Pick originally was for men. They had us on the RHU side, the holding cell side, and that's where the women were housed. They just recently built Riverside for the women,
Good
and
day.
I became a part of Prison Industrial Complex, which is the biggest business, one of the biggest organized businesses in America, and so by me going in and out of jail, right, and that insane comfort zone when because they most back then they ain't had no home plan or no, they give you a token and you leave, and I would go right back to the neighborhood and the same people that was using, you know what I'm saying, like an insane comfort zone, like, and and it was just in and out of jail, in and out of jail, rehab, detox, recovery house. I'm an alumni at quite a few of them, you know what I'm saying, like, and I listen, and I remember
I
one day at
love
a
it.
time. And when alumni would come up in there, and we had to sit on a crate, and they would tear you up, right? Tear you up, try to call themselves building you up back up, and that type of approach they have stopped because they was losing more people because we already
Oh,
beat down.
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about therapeutic communities, TCs.
Yeah.
Yes,
They stopped TCs in the prison systems.
yes,
I worked at Gardenzia when they stopped doing all of that.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
well,
yes,
it was
and
well. I'm telling you, that's when the dehumanizing, demoralizing, and
Right.
dehumanizing human beings. And
mhm,
so the person-centered approach came out at that time in the
mhm,
clinical world, which Azam and I
Right.
are both
right,
professional experts in our craft.
right.
We're both
Mhm.
therapists and counselors. We do all this stuff. But the bottom line is, I'm glad you brought that up because TCs back then, I'm not saying they didn't work. They worked, but I mean, it broke you. It really did break you. But
Mhm.
it was like am I saying it right, Exam? It was messing up. It was messing the people up when they did go back to society. The way that they broke them down, sit on the crate, shut up, do what I say, and all this and that. It was just demoralizing and dehumanizing
Yeah.
the people. It was like taking away more than giving them something to
Absolutely.
leave the jail with. So because they went through that, they went back to society and did the same thing again.
Mhm.
So it wasn't that successful, but it did work for some people. But I know for
Mhm.
me, it was a no. I wasn't even trying to hear that. I didn't care what you said.
Mhm.
Right.
you know.
Mhm.
Right.
So that's good that you had these experiences in life that got you to where you are today. I'm so
Mhm.
happy that you're sharing openly and honestly with us. Thank you so much. What's
Mhm.
next, Zam?
So next, at this point, you go through all that. You go in and out of jail. You go in and out of treatment. What was your bottom
Lord have mercy.
that you?
Thank you, God.
What was the
She
bottom?
said, Lord, have mercy. Come on, sis. Come on, sis. You're doing good.
Listen, like I had said earlier, I was a wanderer. So I used to do geographic changes. New York, Pottstown, Chester County, and was going to jail in these places too. And my last stop was Pittsburgh. And everywhere I went, and the quote that you just now, the sentences you just now read, that was me talking to the interviewer, okay, about therapists, psychiatrists, recovery coaches, right? Preachers, right? Listen, people in recovery, they playing as Eagleville, Cold Forge, one day at a time, RH, listen, all over the place. These people, they were angels. They planted seeds of hope, inspiration,
Mm,
right? And they put out things
come
about
on.
drugs and addiction. And I had to say that because my last bottom, right? I had got caught in the mall, right? Being greedy, stealing, right? To go back and cop and got locked up. And I was rescued. I don't say I got locked up. I was rescued from myself, from
Mm,
by my God. And this is what I believe, right? Because I couldn't stop. Once you take a hit, a puff, or whatever the addiction is, once the body go through that transformation, the chemicals and stuff, it's a wrap, right? So
mhm.
God had to stop me right there, and that was my bottom, and I will never forget it, right? And sent me out past go and didn't collect $500. I went straight to Muncie, to the lock cell, straight. They said, listen,
She's
Tracy
playing.
ain't playing no games. She ain't playing no
listen,
games. You heard what she said.
listen, because they got a cell for you, right? But the worst thing is a self-made prison.
That one.
Click on your heart, your soul, and your mind, where you just shut down and isolate. Can't nothing get in, right? Until God does divine intervention. This is what I believe, as in hearing a message of hope. Listen, and by me hearing them things, I start hearing stuff in my mind like,
Come
Tracy,
on.
you're in jail, locked up in RHU, right? They call us the neurotin ring. These pills that you get for diabetic and all this kind of stuff, but they give you a little buzz or whatever. And one day, this is where my bottom and my ride, where I start rising up out of the chains breaking, right? And I looked around and said, no, I said, why she don't never go to the RHU? Why she don't never go to the RH? How can she be content and a little happy? Listen, the thought was because they're not doing criminal behaviors, right? Who does
Mm,
that in jail? And then I thought about it. I said, I gotta start changing. Because that's what recovery is all about. I have to change in my attitudes and my behaviors. I ain't perfect. But
come on.
listen, them character defects will get you something. So I went and seen the counselor. And I said, I'm tired of living like this. I need some place, I need a home plan. Right? And I went to the halfway house.
Nice.
And
Mm-hmm.
I need to say that I have to say that, right? I have to say that. Right before I was released, my son Anthony Riley, he's known all around the world. He was on The Voice, right? And the captains and lieutenants and all, I had all of them up there voting for him. So I got out, seen my son 2 times, and he committed suicide, right? It was the most excruciating pain I felt besides my mother's death.
Mm,
In the recovery house, as in my journey right now. Usually, I did go to the psych ward
Ooh,
for a week, but I came out, no pills and all that kind of stuff. I came out, went to my son's funeral, and went back to the recovery house. And I mean, was there for me through it all.
oh,
I mean, crazy. I was having panic attacks over losing a darn ID. And I mean, he was just there for me all the way through my
That's
beginning
amazing.
process of change.
Well, let me
Right?
tell you, brother Amin is on right now. Hello, Amin. Hi,
I mean,
Asia. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Michelle. Thank you all for joining. We really do appreciate you coming in. I know that I sent you the link late, but thank you for chiming in anyway.
Absolutely.
Tracy is giving flowers to Amin right now, who was one of her angels, who is on right now. He helped you. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yes, yes, Tracy. Doing great, sis. Good job.
You
and the thing
really are.
about it, he never left me. I drove him crazy, to be honest. You know how when you're a therapist or a psychiatrist,
Oh,
you
yeah,
got
we
somebody
know.
that's like,
Yeah.
look,
Oh,
listen,
we know.
got mental health issues for real. I had to remind him that one day in the car. I said, you done been in college and did all this studying. I said, you studied about somebody just sitting right here in your car. Right? Because he was irritated a little bit because I was just crying about an ID. Listen. And I mean said that was a spiritual awakening for him. What I
Wow.
had said to him. I said, because everything you studied is sitting right in front of you right now.
Ooh, baby.
Yes,
Out of
I
the mouth
did.
of
Yes,
babes.
I
Out of the
did.
mouth of
Yes, I
babes.
did.
Wow.
I
And
love it. I love it.
listen, and I mean, he would come. He had to come twice out of his comforts of his home, or after work, after hours, and get me because I didn't clash with one of the girls in the in the recovery house. Right?
Let me say
Police
something
might.
about that. Let me say something about that
Yeah.
because people think that our job as a therapist or a counselor is supposed to look one way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the within the ethical guidelines,
Mhm.
Oh man.
within the principles and the confines of what the state put in place for what they believe we really supposed to be like.
Wow.
But there is nothing like a recovering addict who is in the form of a professional in the treatment center providing services, starting with hope to the person they are servicing, and gotta go the extra mile to break one. And then, and because I've been fired from helping a client.
Listen, you better stop telling my
I'm trying to tell
story.
you, Tracy, you started it. Tracy started it.
Yeah, she
Tracy
just
started.
broke.
I done been fired for putting shoes on their feet. I've been
Yo,
fired from letting them use the cell phone because they just want to hear that
wow.
baby's voice one time. You let them use your phone? We don't do that around here. That's unethical. I've been fired from praying with a client. That's against our philosophy. We don't do that. The state code of ethics says you can take those
Mhm.
ethics when it comes to saving somebody's life and seizing the moment to plant that seed of hope. Boy, don't get me. Boy,
Listen,
boy,
off the
boy.
top.
And guess what I did? I went right down the street and got another job. They was waiting for me. Get out my face. I can't stand that, Azam. I don't know about you, Azam. You can speak to
No,
that.
I got something for y'all. You got to
Come
listen.
on, come on, come on, because Tracy started it. You started it,
Just
Tracy.
10 minutes ago. Thank you, Tracy. You just brought, see what happens when you come here? You draw up some feelings. Because just now I got off the phone with a client, right, who I served, graduated, took him to treatment, stayed in contact with him to see was right. And now he's back. He came back to jail. I shared with one of the staff members that, yeah, that, I try to stay in touch with this, that. Don't you know she's trying to get me fired right now? Because I told her I stayed right. This happened today.
Oh,
Because he asked me, can I sponsor? I said, I won't sponsor you, but I still give you some counseling information, guide you to how to go to meetings and all that. And he said the supervisor called them in Friday to question him about his relationship with me outside of the jail.
oh my God. The devil is a
A
liar.
liar.
See,
Yes,
and
he
guess
is.
what? And because we are both in recovery, our recovery can justify that. You don't tell me who to interact with outside of your business, your building.
Right.
Period. Period. We can go outside and do what we need to do. That's our recovery turning on, our compassion, our empathy, our unconditional positive regard for the next person in recovery. And we do go that extra mile. We do take it a step further. Well, guess what? Keep firing me, because guess what? I'm going to keep helping them, and I'm going to go down the street and get a job. Let's get back to Tracy. I'm sorry. Ooh, that just that brother, I mean, keep doing what you're doing. Look at Tracy. This is a living witness that you went that extra mile, and look at her now. Don't get me started.
Yeah, that extra mile, man.
Yep.
Because listen, they give me a check. I work for the creator, man.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So now Tracy, so now
take away from you. We just had a mental health moment just now.
That happened right here on Bring It to the Table. We do what we got to do to help save a life and plant a seed.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at her. 12 years later, she ain't never forget it. Come on.
Nope.
Who would think? Come on now. So now, Tracy, so now we'll switch it over. You're in recovery now. Let me tell the audience what a day of recovery looks like, a basic day for Tracy. What does a day of recovery look like?
A day of recovery, I'm going to sound corny, but a day of recovery looks like a beautiful rainbow of hope, because that's what it symbolizes. It looks like God goodness is with me. His grace and mercy woke me up. That's the first thing I do when I wake up. I thank him. I make my hot cup of coffee. I do my prayer. I get up. I'm resilient. Because sometimes I get up.
I read that.
Yeah, I'm very, very. That's a spiritual gift. I'm very resilient because, like I tell everybody, my husbands are icy hot and Bengay. Okay, and I got I keep them in my pocketbook. They with me all damn day. Okay.
I'm related to
Sometimes,
them
as soon as I wake up in the morning, I gotta stretch and put Bengay and ice hat on and keep it moving. I get up and through the grace of God, I get my grind on. Right? They said the same way I chase the drugs, the alcohol, you got to chase your recovery the same way. Just as what's been told to me.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. That's good, Tracy. You on fire. I'm telling you, really is. The chat is going crazy too. Look, it says Tracy has 6 children, right? Tracy has been in multiple programs, including institutionalized, right? It says that Tracy, you told the people that you are more than just an initiative. He was like, y'all see what y'all see, but I know I'm more than that. Which you assist people with justice, involved individuals with education too, right?
Yeah.
Look, I'm still going down the line. You involved with ProAct, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, baby, you are involved with those returning citizens for incarceration, right?
Yeah.
You were also in a diabetic coma before. You had a stroke before. You were unconscious for weeks at a time. Physical rehabilitation, you had to go to a facility. Am I right?
Yep.
Arthritis, fibromyalgia, all those things you have. Here, ladies and gentlemen, I brought it up for a reason. All those things Tracy has overcome, conquered, survived, and is living beyond her dreams.
Bringing it to the
table, baby. I'm talking about all. You had COVID, and then you had surgery after COVID several times, right?
Yeah.
Girl, Bob, all these hardships. They call you a warrior. It says you have muscular pain. Oh my God. And you just keep soaring like the eagle. The article says she pushes herself forward despite of all of that. Can you talk to the audience about that, please?
Okay. The first thought that I want to speak on is, okay, I mean was still in my life, right? I'm gonna say it fast. I mean was still in my life, and I got my little check, and I said now I'm gonna cut the umbilical cord of being institutionalized in programs. Step in, step up, and step out is the
Come
same.
on.
So what I did was I got in touch I wound up getting in contact with Tony. He's in long-term recovery. He has a store, a certain place, and in North
Don't
Philly.
say Tony Moses.
No, no, Tony. He got the store on
Okay.
Lehigh, Spirit of Lehigh, and he got houses, recovery houses all around North Philly. So he was my
Oh, I know
first
you're talking about
landlord.
Anthony.
Anthony, yeah.
Anthony.
He said
Anthony.
he
You're
knew
talking
you
about
too because
Anthony.
I showed him your picture today.
Yeah,
So
that's
anyway,
my boy.
Anthony was
That's
my
my
first.
boy.
That's my boy too, my landlord. He was my first landlord, right? He was we was stuck like glue. He was helping me through my process. And what I did was I followed the same routine that I did when I was at the halfway house. I got up in the morning, did my prayer. I went to New Stock. I completed that. I became an alumni, right? Then I started going to ProAd. I started facilitating groups. I went to Peership Leadership Academy, got a certificate. I went to Mothers in Charge Job Readiness Program, and I got a certificate, right? It was like boom, bang, 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 certificate after certificate. And then one day, I looked at the board and said CCP, Community College Program for people that's just coming out of incarceration. Listen, or been incarcerated. I said, that's me. I'm going. And I made an
Hey.
appointment, right? Listen, I'm going to get into the health part because I was already a diabetic, right? But it didn't get progressively worse until I kept on eating the way I wasn't supposed to. That's my message, too, right? When they say eat and exercise, especially if you already borderline or diabetic, you got to follow what the doctors is telling. You got to follow what the doctor is telling you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, as time went on, by me overeating on certain medication, right, it started having an effect and symptoms in my body, right? So I decided right before CCP, I went with Sean Anderson, your storytelling, right? And I did the training. And then he said, I want you on board with me. So I started facilitating for him, moving on. Then after that, I seen the CCP. Now I'm staying clean. I'm maintaining, going to, the rooms. I'm just gonna say the rooms, going to the rooms, right?
Right.
With a sponsor, right? Listen, exercising this and that. And then I went to CCP and took the assessment test. When I walked to the door, now remember that low self-esteem is still peeping his head up, right? That insecurity is still peeping his head up, right? Low confidence peeping his head up, right? I silenced it and pushed it down because I seen everybody, the teenagers typing on their computers and stuff. I was like, I don't belong here. I silenced it, right? And I went straight into the assessment office, took the test, and went straight up to my first professor, right? And she embraced me, gave me a big hug. She said, we got you. And she had 3 staff. And they was all about, right, people coming out of incarceration, making an adjustment to college. Right. And they was there. I didn't know how to open it. I didn't know how to go on campus. I didn't know nothing about the computer. And I became the student of the month. It was just, I did acting class first and the professor class first. And then as time, I'm going to speed it up, right? Doing meeting staff. They just love me to death. And so, remind you, I'm still overeating, being over medicated, right? By the doctors, right? The specialists and stuff for the neuropathy, arthritis, fibromyalgia, sciatica, muscle cramps, just to name a few, right? This is just muscular issues, right? And nerve issues. So, I'm taking these pills and stuff for the diabetes and what have you. And one day I got home from college and I had called my sponsor. He was in Jersey. And he was like, I'm coming to blank out there, something going on. Because I was falling all around. Everywhere I went, I was like bam, falling. My body from the gabapentin. And he didn't tell me, but God told him, call Carmela. That was my best friend at the time. And Carmela came over my apartment. I don't remember none of this. Carmela told me, I'm gonna tell you just like she said it. I started cussing her out, and she said, I'm calling the ambulance. Rodney just called me, you ain't breathing right. And I didn't even know that I was slipping into a coma. And then Carmela said, girl, you told me, grab my damn pocketbook and my wig. Y'all always minding somebody's damn business. And she called the ambulance. She said you was cussing the people out. They called their supervisor, because usually they leave when you say no. She said they put you on that stretcher. You was cussing them out all the way to the hospital, girl. And when I got to Einstein emergency room, the doctors couldn't do nothing. They knew I was slipping and slipping. My breathing was going lower and lower. Listen, God is in the midst. They called the ambulance back and transported me to Jefferson Hospital with the quickness. They was waiting for me, took me up to the seventh floor, and put me on an ECMO life support machine, okay? And I was on that machine for 2 months. The machine triggered a blood clot to my brain, and that caused a stroke. He said to my daughter, we pulled the plug. We need to pull the plug. She's not going to make it. And my daughter said, my mom got a guy and her job ain't done yet. And she said, y'all ain't pulling a damn thing, right? Listen, I didn't come out the coma yet. They transferred me back to Jefferson Einstein intensive care unit. And one day I woke up and I looked, I was like, where the hell am I at? And a Hella was there, one of my son's baby mamas. And I said, who is you? She said, it's me, a Hella. I said, I don't know you. I didn't know where I was at or who she was. And she was like, Halima and your daughters and them just left. I said, I don't know them. Right? So she called them. They came up and it was reminding me who I was, where I lived, that I got a couple of dollars, right? This and that I was in college. And she was like, you better call them people. You've been going for like 3 months. So as time went on, certain people was coming up to visit me, right? So they sent they was doing all that. I had a trait right here, a trait right there. Listen, I couldn't walk, I couldn't feed myself, I couldn't wash myself or nothing. I was just like done.
Tell a
I couldn't
story.
do
Tell a story. Tell a story,
this.
girl.
I couldn't do nothing, right? So one day, for me, a preacher came on the TV and he was just talking. And I said, God, all I want to do is be able to reach for this cup. That's all I want to do. 3 days later, I was able to reach for the cup. I was drinking. I said, God, I just want to ring the nurse bell. Reached up, rang the nurse, but she kept running. What's going on? I said, I can move now a little bit. She was like, yay, whatever. So then they sent the Moss rehab lady over, right? And she brought the walker in. She said, Miss Downey, all I want you to do is scoot in the chair. I said, I can't move. She said, yes, you can. I'm saying you can. So I scooted up with all my might, real slow, and got in the chair. She said, that's all, and got back in the bed. Then I'm gonna say a week and a half later, she came back with the walker. She said, all I want you to do is get out that bed and walk to the door and sit in the chair. And I got out that bed and I was walking real slow to the chair, determined. Then I seen my sponsor, God sent me an angel. He come up the hall, gave me a big hug, and then more tests, this and that. And then they took me over. They took the traits out right here. And then they took me over to Moss Rehab and I was there for 30 days, still bedridden. And I told Halima bring my nice wigs up and my Bath and Body Works, my Victoria's Secret, my
I know that's
eyelashes, and
right.
my wait a minute, and my lipstick, okay. And I want some pretty robes up in here and my slippers. And then one day I said I'm getting the hell out this bed. I got out that bed and got the walker and just walking to the bathroom. Listen, I went in that bathroom. I had my Victoria's Secret and stuff. I was washing up. The nurse come knocking. Miss Downey, where are you? Where are you? I said, I'm in the bathroom. She said, you're not supposed to be in there by yourself. I said, I got God with me. And yes, I am, honey. She just said, okay, well, it's time for you to go in the back room and do rehabilitation. And that's exactly what happened. I started walking the walker, doing, all different kind of physical exercise, y'all. And then I started walking up and down the hallway. Listen, then I pushed the cane, the walker to the side, and then I just start walking up the hallway like this. Walking up the, I started to do this. I'm walking up the hallway. Listen, 30 days passed. 4 doctors came in. They said this is miraculous. He then was like, "What is?" It? He said, "Miss Downey, we can release you to go home because you're walking and everything now. This is amazing." And I went home, y'all,
Wow.
and I
That's
did. I
beautiful.
cleaned.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I cleaned out all the Snicker bars, ginger ale, all that stuff. I threw it away. Rearranged my apartment. Went to Walmart with $500. Got a juicer, smoothie machine, air fryer. Right. I started juicing, eating nuts, eating more healthy. Right. I
That's
lost.
right.
I lost 53 pounds. I got my A1C from 11.13 to a 6.1. It's
Oh
6.4
God.
right now. It's 6.4. I was stressing out with the finals, but that's where they wanted at, and I got it down. And I just gotta say this, Dr. D Joy, he was my favorite doctor. We had a patient-doctor relationship because I started making a journal of my blood pressure, the pills. I would look up the pills on Google, and I would let him know this specialist gave me that, that specialist gave me that, and they're not communicating with each other because this pill caused this side effect. And Dr. D Joy looked on the computer. He said, "You absolutely right. You don't need this, 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 this." I came off of 7 pills. Glory
Come
to God.
on.
7 pills. 7
There it
pills.
is, folks. You heard it.
Self-advocating. Because I was
You heard it.
self-advocating.
You
I
heard
said,
it
this
first,
is a
Sam.
You
relationship.
heard it
I
right
said
here,
a
baby.
relationship. And y'all got to listen to me. Y'all need to hear what I'm saying about my body. Like, listen, because y'all was already over-medicating me, right? Yeah, now it is my responsibility to be aware of everything y'all do. What's the name of that pill? How long has it been in effect in society? What is it going to do to the organs in my body? And how long will it take to effect? And why you think I really need it? Well, I'm going to run this by my primary care doctor, Dr.
That's
D.
good stuff,
And that's
Tracy.
exactly what I did. And
That's
that's
good
exactly
stuff.
what I started
That's
to do.
good stuff.
That's what
Good
I
stuff.
started to do.
Good
I got a
job, good
journal,
job.
a medical journal, going back 4 years ago. Every time I go to the doctor, I write their name down, the medication they suggest, right? And I write everything down in my book.
Well, Tracy's on fire right here, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, she is on fire at Bring It to the Table. She is bringing you some good health tips on how she manages her recovery. I don't care how much medicine, you better know what you're taking. Any final words? We are in our last 3 minutes. Any final words? We got to get off before 60 minutes so that we can make sure we get it to Instagram. Final words, Tracy. This is for you.
My final word is I'm gonna say, I believe that anything is possible, right? To give ourselves a gentle hug and break and step into this new life. It's amazing. I went skydiving last year, jumped out that plane, right?
Wow, you
Listen,
crazy.
nah,
Not
I
me.
loved. Yeah, I wanted to do it all my life. The first plane
I know
ride
what that
was.
do to the dopamines. I understand. I
Oh,
understand.
I loved it. I always wanted to do this since I was a little girl. I always wanted to get in a plane, and the first plane was to Florida to a convention. That other, the room,
Right,
the
right, right.
convention, and then I was like, God, I want to fly.
Well, I got to get you out here. We got to get you out here in Atlanta so
I
that
said,
you
I
can
want
get.
to fly, girl. I jump right out that plane. Listen, plays and
Girl, you
shows.
crazy.
I love plays. I love Broadway plays. I just booked for me to. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I'm going to New York by myself. I've been in New York 3 times by myself for 5 nights, all over the place, having a ball. Listen.
Well, go live your best life, girl. I'm so grateful to have you on the show. Thank you so much, girl. You was
Thank
going,
you,
going,
thank you,
going, going,
Tracy,
going.
for
But
being
that's
here.
what we need. We
God
like
bless
that. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you back here on next Thursday, 8 p.m. We're not really sure who's going to be on, but Tracy was a blast to have you
you.
on.
Yes, she
Thank
was.
you so much. Keep up the good work. I can't wait till you get to that bachelor's level degree. We will love to have you back here on the show. Good
Yes,
night,
I agree.
everybody.
Love
Salam
and
alaikum to
respect.
all the
Woo,
Muslims.
woo,
Bring it
woo.
to the
Woo,
table
woo, woo.
all day, every day.
Thank you for a great co-host tonight. That was amazing.
Good job, After.